Okay, let's get into chapter 2. Now, what I did was I combined sections 1 and 2. They kind of blend into each other anyway, so I kind of just put them together. So we're going to cover sections 1 and 2 here first, right? So this is all about integers, putting sign numbers together, adding and subtracting them, with positive and negative numbers. So let's talk about the first rule right here. The first rule is add integers with the same sign. Add integers with the same sign by adding the absolute values. So what that means, like you basically kind of ignore the signs, right? Because when you're adding the absolute values, you're not thinking of it as negative. You just because absolute value is always positive. So just think of it as just with no sign, add the numbers up, and then just keep the sign. Keep the sign of whatever the numbers are that you're adding. So all these first examples right here, we have -4 plus -2. Now that is, just think of that as 4 plus 2. 4 plus 2 is 6, and it's going to be -6. You just keep the sign. That's all there is to it. 5 plus 9 is just a straightforward addition problem, basically. It's just 14, right? 14. Think of the next one, -6 plus -3. Think of that as just like 6 plus 3, right? It's a pretty easy concept. I think what happens is these get a little bit confusing when all of them are kind of jumbled up. But yeah, we've got -6 plus -3. Think of that as 6 plus 3, which is 9, and keep the sign. It's -9. You can also think of adding negatives like you dove down 6 feet, and then in addition to that, you dove down 3 feet. Well, how far did you dive down? You went 9 feet down underwater. Okay, a lot of different analogies, I guess, or examples we can bring up about negatives, but that's one of them, you know. Next one, -1 plus -11. That's -12. All right, it's not writing for me. There we go. All right, 3 plus 5 plus 7 is 15. Those are all just positives, right? That's pretty easy. And 20 plus 15, just think of that as 20 plus, I mean, it's -20 plus -15, but just think of that as 20 plus 15, which is 35, and then keep the sign, -35. There you have it. All right, and then you can just, pause the video, try these out on your own, and, when you're done, just unpause it. I'll just go through it though. 15 plus 7 is 22. This one is -20. This next one is you're going to add these up. I mean, we're adding everything, essentially. That is going to be, what, 82? -82, I should say. -82. And then right here, we're going to add these as well. 205 plus 123, that is 328. -328. Don't forget the sign, like I almost did. All right. The next rule, let's talk about adding integers with opposite signs. So when they have opposing signs, like for instance, when one is positive and one is negative, and the order in which you're adding them or whatever is not really, that doesn't matter. But what you want to notice is that one of the integers is positive, one of them is negative. But when you have the opposite signs, you want to subtract, all right? You want to find the difference. So by finding the difference, all right, that means subtract. All right, and using the sign of the number with, when you're deciding what the answer is going to be of this, unlike the last problems that we just did, we just kind of kept the signs because they were both the same sign. When they have opposing signs, we keep the sign with a number with the higher or highest, depends on how many there are. All right, but with the higher absolute value. So if the number, if the number has, the biggest number with the highest absolute value is negative, then it's going to be negative. If the number with the higher absolute value is positive, it's going to be positive. You just have to look at the numbers you're putting together. All right. So on A right here, we're going to subtract those, right? We're going to do, I know it's not in this order, but you really want to think of it as 2 minus 1, right? You want to think of it like that. I know it doesn't show that, but you want to think of it that way. And 2 minus 1 is 1. And the positive has a higher absolute value, so it's going to be positive. You don't need to put a plus sign, though. If it's positive, I'm just trying to emphasize the fact that it's positive, right? It's not wrong to put a positive sign. You definitely have to put a negative, though, if it's negative, of course. Right here, you have 5 plus negative 9. These have opposite signs. So think of this as 9 minus 5. Think of it as subtraction. Think of it as a difference problem. And 9 minus 5 is 4. Okay, 4. And the higher number here is negative. So it's going to be negative 4. That's how that works. All right, think of this as 6. That's the thing, you have to kind of make up your own problems when you're doing this way, but think of this as 6 minus 3. I know it doesn't show that. It shows negative 6 plus 3. But what should be going through your head is that they have different signs. Therefore, you're finding the difference. You want to subtract them. And 6 minus 3 is 3. And the negative has a higher absolute value. See, that's all there is to it. I know I make it sound easy. Some of these, there's sometimes a lot going through your head when you're solving those kind of problems, but you have to just kind of make sure you kind of keep all that stuff organized in your head. All right, and then yeah, just more examples here. You can pause the video, try these out, unpause it, and see how you did. All right, I'll just kind of go through these. This is negative 3. This one is negative 8. And this one is positive 53. Positive 53. Don't have to put a plus on there. I'm not sure why I did that, but you can do that. All right, same thing right here. We can just try these out on your own. Here's a whole page. You can just try and, again, just pause the video, give these a go, see how you do, and unpause it, see how you fared. All right, I'll just kind of go through these quickly. All right, because these are all difference problems. Well, actually, no, they're not. They're all kind of mixed up. So number 1, that's a different sign, so I'm going to find the difference, and that's going to be 2. I'm thinking 9 minus 7. 9 minus 7, and the positive number has a higher absolute value. Right here, these have the same sign, so we're going to add their absolute values and keep the sign. That's how that works. Number 3, these have different signs, so subtract. Think 5 minus 1, which is 4, and the positives win. Positives have the positive number has a higher absolute value. And I just said positives win because sometimes when I teach this to middle schoolers, we talk about there being kind of a battle between positive numbers and negative numbers, and who's going to come out on top, and that's one kind of thing that you can kind of picture in your head, perhaps, that might help you kind of get these a little better. For number 4, this is a difference, right? I'm going to think 12 minus 6. 12 minus 6 is 6, and the positive has a higher absolute value. All right, these have the same sign, so add them up and keep the sign. They're both negative. All right, this is a difference, so think 11 minus 2, which is 9. And the positive has the higher absolute value. Right here, think difference, think 49 minus 15. 49 minus 15 is 34. And the positive number has a higher absolute value. Right here, think subtraction, because they have different signs. Think 47 minus 30. 47 minus 30 is 17. And the number with a higher absolute value is a negative, so it's going to be negative 17. All right, number 9, these have different signs, so subtract. Think 49 minus 27, which is 22. And the higher number is positive. Right here, let's do the same thing. Subtract. Think 29 minus 9. 29 minus 9 is 20. And on this one, the negative number has the higher absolute value. It makes it a negative difference. All right, this one's going to be 42. This next one is going to be, well, I'll just take this a little bit at a time. 10 plus negative 2 is 8. And then 8 plus 1 is 9. Right here. Negative 2 plus 11 is 9. 9 plus 4 is 13. Right here, that's 19. 19 plus negative 4, I'm going to do the difference there. That's 15. The positives win on that one. Negative 7 plus 3 is negative 4. Negative 4 plus 9 is 5. And then right here, you've got negative 1 plus 11. That makes 10. 10 plus 5 is 15. Okay. So that right there, I know it seemed kind of quick, but that was basically sections 1 and section 2. All right, so the next section I'll cover is section 3 in chapter 2.